The rain had started as a drizzle, the kind that barely darkened the pavement, but by the time the couple reached the hotel, it had turned into a cold, relentless downpour. The woman clutched her thin shawl tighter around her shoulders, her shoes soaked through. The man beside her, gray-bearded, broad-shouldered, and quiet, paused under the flickering porch light of the Grand Willow Inn. Inside, warmth glowed, laughter drifted through the glass doors. It was a world that felt far from theirs. They stepped in. Behind the polished counter stood the manager, crisp suit, gold watch, eyes sharp with practiced judgment. He looked them over slowly. Mud-stained boots, worn coats, tired faces, and his smile thinned. "Can I help you?" he asked, though his tone suggested otherwise. "We'd like a room for the night," the old man said calmly. "Just something simple." The manager clicked his tongue and leaned back. "All our standard rooms are full." The woman's face fell. "Anything at all?" she asked softly. "We don't need much." The manager sighed dramatically, as if inconvenienced. "There is one cheap room left," he said, tapping the desk. "But I don't think it's suitable for people like you." The old man raised an eyebrow. "People like us," the manager smirked. "Travelers with limited means. That room isn't comfortable. I'd suggest you move along." The woman's hands trembled. "Sir, please. We've been walking all day." The manager's voice hardened. "Pay for the cheap room and leave in the morning, or leave now. I won't have complaints from guests who can't afford better." A hush settled over the lobby. A few well-dressed guests glanced over, curiosity mixing with discomfort. The old man said nothing at first. He looked around the grand space. The chandeliers, the velvet chairs, the walls lined with framed photographs of the inn's long history. Then his gaze returned to the manager. He straightened his back, and when he finally spoke, his voice was steady, deep, and unmistakably firm. "Young man," he said, "before you decide who belongs under this roof, you might want to know who built it." The manager laughed, but the room grew very still. The manager's laughter echoed too loudly in the lobby, sharp and dismissive. A few guests shifted uncomfortably, pretending not to listen while listening all the same. "Built it," the manager scoffed. "Sir, I don't know what kind of story you think will get you a discount, but—" "I'm not asking for a discount," the old farmer interrupted. His voice was calm, yet it carried weight, like a river moving under ice. "I'm only asking for respect." The manager folded his arms. "Respect is earned." The old man nodded slowly. "That it is." He reached into the inner pocket of his worn coat. The woman beside him tensed, glancing nervously around. From the pocket, he pulled out a folded, yellowed document, edges frayed with age, and placed it gently on the counter. The manager didn't bother to look at it. "Sir, if you're trying to show me old papers, read it," the farmer said quietly. Something in his tone made the manager hesitate. He unfolded the paper. As his eyes scanned the page, the smirk faded. His brow creased. He turned the document over, then back again. "What is this?" he muttered. "It's the original land deed," the old man replied. "Signed 47 years ago. That land under your marble floors, my land." The lobby seemed to shrink. A woman seated near the fireplace gasped softly. "That's impossible," the manager said, though his voice lacked conviction. "This hotel belongs to Willow Hospitality Group." "It does now," the farmer agreed. "But before the chandeliers and carpets, it was fields. Wheat and corn. I sold it when my hands could no longer work the soil." The manager swallowed. "People sell land all the time." "Yes," the farmer said. "But not everyone stays to build the place they sold." He gestured toward a photograph on the wall, an old black and white image of a half-finished structure, workers standing proudly in front. "That man on the left," the farmer continued, "that's me. I hauled stones when the foundation was laid. I slept in a shed so this inn could rise." Murmurs rippled through the lobby. The manager's face flushed. "Even if that's true," he snapped, "that doesn't change anything." The farmer leaned closer, eyes steady. "It changes everything. Because I didn't just sell the land, I kept one condition." The manager looked up sharply. "What condition?" The farmer's lips curved into the faintest smile. "That this place would never turn away a soul in need." Silence fell over the lobby like a held breath. The manager stared at the old farmer, his mouth opening and closing as though words had abandoned him. Around them, guests had stopped pretending. Every eye was fixed on the counter. "That's not enforceable," the manager finally said, though his voice wavered. "Policies change." The farmer straightened, his gaze unwavering. "Contracts don't change," he replied. "And neither does decency." Before the manager could respond, the front doors swung open. A tall woman in a tailored coat stepped inside, rain glistening on her hair. She scanned the room once, then walked directly to the counter. "Is there a problem here?" she asked. The manager exhaled in relief. "Ms. Carter. Perfect timing. These people are causing a disturbance." Ms. Carter's eyes moved to the farmer. Her expression shifted instantly, surprise, then recognition. "Mr. Hale," she said softly, "I was told you rarely visited." The farmer nodded. "Didn't plan to, but it seems this place needed a reminder." The manager's face drained of color. "You know him." Ms. Carter turned to him slowly. "Know him. He's the reason this hotel exists. The founding landowner, and the man whose clause still sits in our legal files." She faced the guests. "Every manager signs it upon appointment. No guest in need shall be turned away due to appearance or wealth." The manager staggered back. I wasn't." "You were mocking them," a guest said sharply. Ms. Carter's voice was calm, final. "You're relieved of your duties." Effective immediately. A quiet wave of approval swept the room. She turned to the couple. "Please forgive us. The presidential suite is prepared for you, if you'll accept it." The woman's eyes filled with tears. "We only wanted a bed." The farmer smiled gently. "Kindness is the only luxury we ever asked for." Later that night, as the rain eased, the couple sat by the window of the grand suite, not marveling at the chandeliers, but at the warmth they'd been denied for so long. Downstairs, a plaque was polished and rehung near the entrance. "This house was built on generosity. May it never forget its roots." And it never did again. Morning arrived gently, sunlight spilling across the fields beyond the hotel, revealing what the rain had hidden the night before. From the window of the grand suite, the old farmer stood quietly, hands clasped behind his back. The land stretched outward, no longer wheat and corn, but roads, fences, and distant houses. Still, he could feel it. Soil remembered its keeper. His wife stirred awake and joined him. "You didn't have to do all that," she said softly. He smiled. "I didn't do it for the room." Downstairs, the hotel buzzed with a different energy. Staff moved more carefully, voices lower, manners sharper. Ms. Carter stood near the front desk, overseeing the morning shift herself. She had ordered the plaque placed where no one could miss it, right beside the entrance. Polished bronze catching the light. Guests paused to read it. Some nodded, some frowned, some smiled and walked in a little kinder than before. Before leaving, the farmer asked to see the staff. Housekeepers, bellboys, cooks, people who rarely stood together, gathered in the lobby. "I won't be visiting often," he said, his voice steady but warm. "But this place was never meant to be grand because of marble or money. It was meant to be grand because of how it treats people." A young bellboy swallowed hard. "Sir, thank you." The farmer shook his head. "No, thank you, for remembering what matters." Outside, as the couple prepared to leave, Ms. Carter approached them. "If you ever need anything," she said, "this hotel will always be open to you." The farmer tipped his hat. "Then it's being run right." They walked away together, hand in hand, disappearing down the road as the hotel doors closed softly behind them. Inside, a new manager would eventually take charge. Policies would be rewritten, training would change, but the story, the night the poor couple walked in and left richer in dignity, would be told again and again. And every time someone judged another by their clothes or coins, the land itself seemed to whisper a warning. You never know whose ground you stand on.